So I've decided to pop down to a local nature reserve this morning. I've got the long lens on, just in case I see some wildlife. And actually on the way over here I did see a Muntjack deer and managed to get a snap of it through the car window as I was driving past. I think it came out a little bit blurry, so I'm not sure whether that photo was any good or not. But actually, because it's May and the bluebells are out, what I thought I would do is come to this woodland here in Gloucestershire, and as you can see, we've got some lovely carpets of bluebells out, so hopefully I'll be able to get a nice shot of some bluebell woodland. So I must admit, woodland photography is something which I find really quite challenging, and I'm still yet to master sort of finding good compositions. This is a really beautiful woodland, but just trying to get some kind of composition that makes sense here is really quite challenging, especially when the light is sort of happening now in a way, because the sun's coming up. What I'm hoping to do is just wait until the sunlight actually comes through the trees and just hits some of these flowers. But I'm feeling a little bit under pressure to get something quickly, because I know that as soon as that sun gets too high, the light's just going to get a bit too harsh. So yeah, I think what I'm going to do is just keep wandering around here and just try and find a composition that works. So I found this spot here, which I'm actually thinking is working really nicely. I've got the sun coming down through the wood, and it's just lighting up this sort of trail of bluebells running through the wood. It's almost as if the light from the sun is creating a bit of a leading line leading up in through the image. We do have a path that's crossing the scene, which I'm not loving a huge amount, but I don't want to move further forward to cut that path out, because what I really like is the tree that's sitting on the left-hand side. So I'm going to go ahead and take this image now. I think it works really nicely. Do let me know what you think below. I think, I do struggle a lot with woodlands, and it's something which I certainly need to practice a lot more. I find it really hard to find good compositions in woodlands. But let me know what you think about this photo below. Do provide some feedback. And I'm going to go ahead and take this shot now, because I think it's actually quite a nice one. So I think I've got another image here as well. So we've got this tree just in the foreground here, which I'm hoping to use as a lead-in line in the image. And I've got the camera down really low as well, so these bluebells in the foreground are right up near the front of the scene. You can just see how I've got the tripod just lowered down a bit here. It's one of the things I love about this tripod, is the fact you can get it really, really low. So I'll go ahead and take this image now. I think we're starting to get maybe to the end of a good light at the moment, so I'm not sure how many more images I'll be able to squeeze out of this location. But we'll see how this one turns out. I think it might work quite nicely. Really careful not to trample the bluebells, because one thing I really worry about in photography is that sometimes it's quite easy to put the photographs above, looking after the environment. And whilst I have strayed off a couple of paths here, I've always been very careful either to follow animal paths or certainly try to minimise the amount of trampling I've been doing. So anyway, just a little lecture there. But yeah, so what I've got here is I've got this little path heading up here, and it's obviously an animal track of some sort. There's also a log sat here in the foreground, and I think it works quite nicely as an image. Yeah, so I'm going to take this image, but then what I'm going to do as well is I'm going to try and get up and get an image with that log really close up in the foreground as well, because you know me and my foreground interests. I love to have something really nice and close in the foreground. So that's what I'm going to do after I've taken this first image, and yeah, we'll see how they turn out. What I'm going to try doing actually for this second image of a log is I'm actually going to try doing a vertical panoramic. So what I'll do is I'll try taking maybe 2 or 3 images, would probably be sufficient, with a camera in the landscape orientation, which is, normally if I'd be doing a horizontal panoramic, I'd have the camera in a portrait orientation, as that gives you the most pixels for your buck, as it were. So vertical panoramic, I'm going to do landscape orientation camera, if that makes sense, and yeah, just a couple of photos, and we'll pan the camera up with each one and we'll see how it turns out. So I think that's probably about it for today. We're shooting with bluebells. I think the sun's just up a little bit too high now, and the light doesn't have that same sort of magic quality that it had earlier on in the morning. So I'm going to pop home. But if you did like this video, then please give it a thumbs up. Really appreciate that. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do consider subscribing. And actually next week we're off to Corsica. So yeah, that's going to be really exciting, so really looking forward to that. We're hoping to get quite a few videos out of that trip, because Corsica was never really on my radar as a location for landscape photography. I don't know why. It's one of those areas which doesn't seem to get a lot of coverage, but actually I've been doing some research into the landscapes they have there. In particular, there's an area called the Aguil du Bevello, which just looks absolutely amazing. So really looking forward to going to Corsica next week. We'll shoot a few vlogs from there as well, and we'll get those up once we come back. So please do consider subscribing. We've got a lot more to come. Also the reason we chose Corsica actually is because Hannah really wants to see a purple heron. If you don't know what a purple heron looks like, Google it. It is like a heron that's purple, which, funnily enough, but they do look fantastic. So, fingers crossed, we might get some purple heron photography done. But you know how it goes with wildlife; it never seems to play ball. But we'll certainly get a few videos from Corsica. So do subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time. Take care.